Hello, welcome back to my tea house. For today's cup of tea, we'll be taking a closer look at my recent down pair match in the Egman Win-A-Box tournament where I piloted Purple Code Geass versus Green Lancelot. Now, you already know we have to shout out the boy, Hardware TCG, for sponsoring us as a Union Arena player. If you are looking for new deck boxes, some new deck binders, or some card sleeves for your new JJK set or soon to be Code Geass set, please use Lullaby 10 on your next purchase to get 10% off. That is Lullaby 10 for 10% off on your next purchase. I'm a firm believer now that Purple Code Geass is my deck. Maybe it comes from labbing it for the past month, but placing 5th in this Egman tournament has given me a lot of confidence and reassurance going into Orlando, and even recently winning the BIDØ tournament the following weekend has cemented that I've been doing the right things, learning the basics, and understanding how to capitalize on my deck. I want to tell you guys, if you are going to Orlando, don't just net deck, don't just take what you think might win, okay? Take what you are comfortable with. We see a lot of people joining the Discord, and it's great to see the Discord grow, and people are always asking what's the best deck. Again, I've been reiterating for the past month now that the playing field's even. Blue Sukuna, I still think might be the strongest deck. I have troubles against that deck. Purple Code Geass came in like a fire, but honestly, the Egman tournament isn't a good evaluation with it because a lot of people don't know how to play around it. A lot of people got punished, and I guarantee you, you're going to have a hard time going into Orlando when people lab against it, practice it, and see it. Red Code Geass didn't show up at Egman, which is surprising, but we are seeing it start to top in a lot of locals and a lot of events. So I'm telling you, lab against Red with your friends. Now, I want to say that if you have the opportunity to record your videos, record matches against friends, do it. VOD review is always one of the best things that you can do, and reviewing this gameplay has helped me grow as a player immensely. There are, I want to say, 3 misplays that I did, more so 2, but upon looking at it over and over again, I want to say that there are 3, and I want to see if you guys can spot them. I will spoil 2 of them. The first one being that I played the 3-1 Lelouch in the front line and ended up bricking myself on energy. Now, I could still do what I can do properly with this deck with 4 energy, but that's only if I see my 2-1 Lelouches, which 3 of them were in life, and if I see my Gwains, which I only saw 1 the whole game. This added another layer when my opponent decided to incorporate the 1-drop Euphemia that cannot be that allows your other characters not to be targeted by events played out of the hand. This card is 1000 BP and normally is easy to handle when you play the Purple Code Geass, but because I wasn't seeing any of them and I had already played my first and only one that I saw throughout the game early on to get to 3 energy, it forced me to think and it forced me to make a mistake, which is what you really want to do when you're going up against other opponents. Put them in awkward positions, force them to make the bad decision. And if it wasn't for me constantly destroying the opponent's 6-drop Lancelot, I probably would have won the game easier because my opponent was also having a similar struggle of bricking, but it wasn't due to energy. He was not seeing any of his Suzakus. So this one Suzaku that you are going to see throughout the whole entire match single-handedly won him the game. Now, the second thing that I want to bring up, and I think this is super important and something that a lot of players don't learn, and honestly, I don't blame them because it's something you don't really have to pay attention to in Union Arena, but I want to shout out Lemon. If you guys haven't seen Lemon's content, well, he hasn't been making content as of recently because he's busy. But Lemon told me that there are moments in this game where you should starve your opponent. And in fact, by being greedy towards the end of the tournament, but being greedy by the end of the round, when I should have put my foot up on the gas, I wanted to go in for 1 extra damage because I felt like I did it. I had played myself out of this corner that I had backed myself into earlier on. And I was seeing the finish line. I was like, cool, we're going to hit the finals. We beat the down pair. I was already thinking about the mirror matchup and how I could finally take first place at an Egman event or top 3. Starving your opponent is something that is done in One Piece periodically. But again, it's something that you might want to do when you get down to 2 life. And that is, does my opponent have a trigger or something in life that can lose me the game? When you look at the board state, there are no lines for my opponent to win the game. There's multiple lines that get me down to 1 life, but I have all the cards, I have all the access to follow up and win the game. There was no need for me to go for that extra swing. But by going for that extra swing, I hit a trigger, the color trigger, which haunts me and brings back that little son of a... And he plays this 0-drop Suzaku once again. And by playing the Suzaku, he's able to do what he does, push everything up, drop the 2 special triggers, and swing out for game. Now, with all that being said, I want you guys, once again, to pay attention to all the mistakes, the misplays, the many different lines that we could have done. Leave some comments below, and let's get into the mix. Now, getting into it, we see the 0-drop Euphemia come out, getting ready to build up that energy line. And for us, we are seeing that it is a green Lancelot, which kind of gives me a lot of excitement. We dropped the 0-drop 0, and then we played the 1-drop Kallen, one of my favorite cards in this deck. It lets me get aggressive very early, and it gives me a 3k when attacking. Now, we see our opponent recognizing that we're playing against Purple Code Geass and knowing that they're going to have to ramp up energy. We see the 0-drop Suzaku, and we see the 2-1 come out to help generate more energy. This Suzaku, bro, this Suzaku gave me so much trouble. This one Suzaku, bro. Let me calm down. Now we move up the Kallen because, again, against the Lancelot deck, you want to try and get as much chip damage as possible early on, and be able to sustain with your removal. We drop the 0-1 Kallen in the back, and then we follow it up with the 2-1 Lelouch, which I wish I held on to. We swing for the 1 damage, and right off the bat, bing bong, we hit a raid/get trigger, the 6-drop Lancelot, and that tells me, all right, we have to be prepared to either take 2 damage next turn or answer it, because he's going to want to get that out as soon as possible to match our aggression, but also force us to answer it. Now, going back to the opponent, we see him thinking, he understands that we're going to get aggressive, and he's wondering if it's worth it playing the 6-drop right away. Honestly, looking at my side of the board, I don't see any blaring threat. It's pretty standard if you play against Purple Code Geass. So, you know, just go for broke, and there's nothing to lose, because if the 6 does get popped, he gets the Suzaku back anyways. So he's sitting there thinking on it, finally decides to go in. He plays the 3-1 Jeremiah, and I think a lot of Lancelot players are sleeping on the 3-1 Jeremiah. The double block step, double energy helps against the rush decks, helps against Ashford, and I think it's a necessity, a 3 or a 4 of. We see the raid come in with the 6-drop, like I said, adding that pressure, and for extra measure, he goes ahead and drops the 1-drop Euphemia, which stumped me. Out of everyone that I've played and labbed against, a lot of amazing players, no one has ran the 1-drop Euphemia. I don't want to say it's a bad card, because I mean, it helped him win this game, but it's so easy to answer if you have cards that neg 1, you know. We see him go for the damage, and I'm like, it's okay to take early on. We see that we get the active trigger, and then we get a get trigger in the 4-2 Lelouch. It kind of hurts seeing an active trigger go out early, but it is what it is. So now I'm sitting here thinking to myself, wow, how do I get rid of this Euphemia? I don't have a 2-1. I should have waited on playing that 2-1. Maybe you know, this is one of the mistakes that I feel like maybe I didn't have to push up for the early damage, bro. I could have kept the 1-drop in the back and then played the 2 on this turn. It would have been all goody, you know? Sometimes patience is key, but again, when you are playing against a Lancelot deck, it can be very scary, and you need to establish yourself right away. Now, the Euphemia gives him an extra turn to help him establish his board and again slow down the game, which is important. You know, tempo is important. So we play the 3-1 Kallen. We are thinking, how about we just go into the raid now to pop the Euphemia? That way we can put some pressure back on himself, knowing that the Lancelot is not invincible and I can answer it next turn. Kind of baiting out the special and baiting out him not playing another 6-drop or another big body, being like, yo, it's going on. So we play the United States of Japan, extending the turn. I was between playing the 4-2 Lelouch here or again going into the raid and doing what I do. So I decide to go into the 5-1 Gurren raid because again, I don't want him getting comfortable. It's a scary deck. They have a lot of high damage potential, but on second thought, maybe if I looked at the board state, he could drop a double energy Suzaku and just raid into another one, right? We don't know what he has. So we finally decide to go in on the raid and move forward with it. We play the 5-1 Gurren, Papa 3K. This is my favorite Gurren. We've had a lot of debates in the Discord whether the force block or this one is better. I like the fact that I could raid on this and that I can control what I pop. So we pop that and then we have the last energy, and this is where the first mistake happens. I wasn't expecting not to see any more double energy in this game, but you know, them's the breaks. And one thing that I'm learning is maybe I played towards guaranteeing my energy line before making decisions. So we play the 3-1 Lelouch in the front because I'm scared that he'll drop another big body, and I'm down to take another double damage and then block the other one. But if he hits the 8-drop here, it's over. So we go into the attack, exchange blows, and we get another chip damage. We're 5-5 and we see him get the draw trigger, and then we pass turns. Now, again, if I played the 3-1 in the back and then just move up the other 2 next turn, I still have 4 bodies in the front, 4 energy sitting easily in the back. And depending on whatever he does, right, I should be fine to block out or return the aggression. And these are some of the learning curves. I still stand by what I did a little bit because, again, Lancelot can have some huge turns. I don't want him playing a double removal this early, raiding into an 8-drop or another 6-drop, and then swinging out for 4 damage. There are some crazy turns you can do. So if I at least have 1 blocker on board, you know, it stops him from being that aggressive. And I think I picked this up from playing against T-Mac, who is a more aggressive Lancelot player. Now we see him asking about the cards on board and what their value is, if there's any lasting ones, and I'm pretty sure that's because he has both viruses in hand. So he was most likely looking to remove 2 bodies and do exactly what it is that I said he was going to do. But now, at least with having 3 bodies on board, I can block this next attack and not go down to 3 lives so early. There are arguments. We see him take the extra draw, probably looking for another Suzaku to play the other Lancelot he has in hand. But there are arguments. Some of my friends said that maybe I don't take this next swing, and maybe I don't block this next swing and I let it go through and I go down to 3, and then I have 3 bodies on board and just retaliate. He goes ahead and moves the Jeremiah up, which is a double blocker, but it does nothing because we have 2 3Ks on our board. This was intentional for me. Another reason why I played the 3-1, and then we see him drop another Euphemia. We see another 1-drop Euphemia come out, and at this moment in time, bro, I'm baffled. I'm like, bro, I don't have the answer to this. I legit don't have the answer to this right now. He plays a second one. So Even if I raid in or use a special trigger on one of them, I still have to get rid of the other. So frustrating, bro. I'm conflicted here, and honestly, he forced me to make some mistakes. So we go ahead and take the block because now it's a different story. I have 2 of those Euphemias, and luckily we draw into the Gwaine here. Now you guys are about to see the next mistake that I wanted you guys to spot out, and it was the decision between raiding the Gwaine from the back line or just raiding the Gwaine on the 3k body in the front line. And honestly, I probably should have just did that, and I'm trying to figure out how to deal with these Euphemias. Again, I don't want him to get comfortable. He has a full line. We go ahead and go into the raid on the Gwaine, and that instantly pops the 2 Euphemias, which makes me ecstatic because now I can go into the special, pop the Lancelot, and then with the 1 extra energy, I don't have anything to play because much like him, I'm high rolling right now. I have a lot of big bodies in hand, but I don't have the energy to play them, and that's honestly frustrating. It's these rare occasions that happen, but you got to understand how to play around them. So we go in with the swing, bing bong, we get a color trigger. Guess who comes back out? The 0-drop Suzaku. Bro, I hate this card with a passion. And here, honestly, we could have put the foot up on the gas. We honestly didn't need to go for another swing here. We get hit by the Varus, special trigger, removes the 4k body. I kind of feel like getting the special trigger here is still better than him playing out the special triggers from hand and then me hitting that later on in the game. But it is what it is. So now seeing that he's removed threat, I feel like he doesn't feel too pressured. So him deciding whether or not to move the Jeremiah back down or keep it up tells me a couple things. It tells me that he's either sitting pretty on energy in hand if he wants to keep the Jeremiah up, or he can generate the energy, but it's going to be a hard ask. You know what I'm saying? And by that I mean he probably has some more 0-drop Euphemias that he could play and then tap them to stretch it out, but it's going to be a turn slow. So we see him finally go through. He moves the Jeremiah to the back. Well, he's frustrated because much like me, you know, he has the answers. He just doesn't have the energy to play. He doesn't have the Suzakus to play. And he also sees that the Gwaine is sitting in the back. Part of my reason for not moving that up obviously is the energy, but at the same time, me having the Gwaine just sit in the back that can't be blocked by 2k or less plays mind games on my opponent, and I honestly think helped me survive a lot longer than I probably should have. We see him finally move the Jeremiah back, and then there's that 0-drop Euphemia that I'm talking about. I think he was deciding whether or not he wants to commit to playing the 8-drop or the 6-drop. We see him raid the Lancelot once again on the Suzaku in the front, applying that added pressure once again. I wasn't sure whether or not I take this or block this. We see him play out the 4-1 Cornelius raid, is what, Gloucester, and we see him go in for the swing. I'm sitting here thinking maybe I get a draw trigger, or maybe I get a 0-drop that can help me go to 5. That way I can play my raid and do what it is that I need to do. So we're thinking upon the decision. Is there a way that I hit a draw trigger that draws it deeper into my deck to give me the double energy? I have 2 chances. Maybe I hit a special. We don't know. So we go into it, and bing bong, we see the other 2 2-1 Lelouches out of life. Luckily, it helps me dig too deep. I do find a C2 and a Kallen off of this, which gives me the ability to go up to 5 and raid into another answer. I forget what it was that we pulled here, but now I'm sitting here thinking to myself, okay, he's generating 6 energy, potential 8, 3 cards in hand. Do I move the Gwaine up, play one of the babies, and then play the 4/2 Lelouch in the front and make him discard a card? Or do I keep the Gwaine in the front and just go for the double removal right here? I don't know if he has another Suzaku in hand. I had the gut feeling he has the 8-drop Lancelot in hand. Now, if he plays the 8-drop, pop something, remove something, that's game. I don't want him to have those bodies on board to threaten that, to push that, right? Yes, I have one body in board that will be an additional blocker, but at this point in time, I'm thinking the less on Lancelot's front line, the better. So we decide to not move. We go into the removal first, I'm pretty sure. On a 4/2, we Geass the 6/1 Lancelot because he no longer has protectors. Also, when he played the 1-drop Euphemia in the backline, the 0-drop Euphemia in the backline, I quickly was like, yo, is that a 1-drop? Because the glare was egregious and I had PTSD. So we popped the 6/1. The Suzaku goes back to hand. And now here, do I play the 4/2? Make him discard something, or do I go into the force block and remove that body on board and still apply pressure? And I still feel like what I did was the right answer. Maybe the other line is just as good, because then we force him to remove either the 8-drop, one of the 2 specials, or the whatchamacallit, or the Suzaku, which he's not going to want to do. So we go into the force block, remove that, we get a damage off. It's an active trigger. Now right here, I was greedy. We see the color trigger, we see the we see the goddamn Suzaku come out once again. But even here, I feel confident. I feel kind of confident because I'm like, what's the worst that he can do? He could probably remove 1 body or 2, right? If he raids the 8-drop, he can remove 1 body, and that's what I was really hoping he was going for with that line. I didn't expect him to have 2 specials here. If I don't press the issue and I leave it at what it is with him sitting at 2 life, 1 action point has to go into playing the Suzaku, another has to go into playing the 8-drop, and then 1 more has to go into a special trigger. So yes, he can remove both bodies, but then he only has the 1 on the front line, and I could just wrap it up. I guess he draws into the Cornelius, so he could play that off the color trigger, but then it just comes down to pick order, right? We see him deciding, and I'm sitting here like, please just raid the 8-drop, bro. I'm in a good position. I'm up 3-1. Honestly, this is a great position against any other deck, but against Lancelot, it's basically 1-1 right now because they have the ability to do such big turns. He finally connects the dots. He sees the line, I think, and he goes ahead and pushes up, I think 2. Yeah, he decides whether or not to move up the Jeremiah, and then I think he realizes, no, if I pop the move up the Jeremiah and pop the Euphemias, then it's over on my energy line. So he goes ahead and moves up both baby Euphemias. He has 4 energy. He has the Suzaku. He plays the Varus, and then he plays the second Varus. And on further thought too, if I play the 4/2 Lelouch and make him discard a card and he goes with the Suzaku or the special, he can't play the special triggers without a Lancelot or Suzaku to do the damage to get rid of the cards, right? We see him play the 0-drop Cornelius that he top decks. We hit the draw trigger, another 2-1 Lelouch. 3 of them in life hurts this game. We hit one of the only non-triggers I have in deck, and then we hit the 5-1 Gurren, and he takes the win. Honestly, bro, watching this game, y'all tell me, was this game mine to win? Did I sell it? I feel like I did. We take a look at my hand, right? We have the 4-2 Lelouch, the C2, the 0, the Kallen, and we see the hand that he has. And there you have it. Taken down by a single Suzaku throughout the whole entire game, bro. The color trigger coming in clutch for green. This has been one of the most satisfying, high-level play, competitive, and most fun I've ever had in Union Arena, despite me losing since the game has came out. And this is what I thrive for. This is what I hope you guys thrive for, and this is what I'm looking forward to in Orlando. Yes, early on, you know, we might play against some people who are new coming out to experience, but at the same time, when you go up against that one opponent that plays something that you haven't labbed against that much, or is unexpected, or you see some combos that come out of left field, remember, take a step back, breathe in and out, and remember that you're having a tea break. I want to say thank you and shout out to all the Tea House community members that I have faced in these recent tournaments. Thank you for the love that you guys are sharing. Yo, bro, it's crazy, my boy. We are almost to 500 subscribers, bro. You know, it's cool seeing some of the community members say thank you for what I'm doing for the community, for the videos that I'm putting out. Again, it's to help other players who are just as hungry and eager as I am, but it's also to help myself. Being able to sit down and break down my gameplay with you guys helps me grow as a player, and it makes me super excited again for the future of this game, and it makes me super excited to see what Gundam has in store. But until then, I want to say thank you for stopping by the Tea House. I hope you guys enjoyed your tea break, and I'll catch you on the next one.